Hello everyone, Rare Model Reviews here, and today we'll be reviewing the SH Figuarts Metal Cooler. So this is one that comes from the movie Dragon Ball Z, Return of Cooler. Very old, but definitely a classic film of mine. And it was just probably hands down one of my favorites from the Dragon Ball movie series. So I'm not going to get into the origins or anything like that. I think that's a little unnecessary, but first and foremost, I'm going to address the elephant in the room. This thing is super expensive. This thing had to have been about 120 bucks. But honestly, I'd say it's worth it. I'm sure you guys could guess why it's so expensive. But this thing definitely has a strange feel to it. It's hard to describe it. It's kind of like this gumball candy kind of like texture to it. I don't want to say cheap, but I don't know. The plastic doesn't feel quite as sturdy, dare I say, as some of the other figures in the line, but obviously it's because they had to use a different kind of plastic for this texturized look of this thing, as it has to look kind of metallic-y. And it worked out very well, and I really like the fact that it's like multiple tones. It's going to show up very, it's going to be kind of hard to show up on camera just because of the nature of this thing, but I'm sure some areas show up, such as the face. The face is kind of less reflective. You, of course, have the white and the red there for their eyes. Even like the little ear pieces here, they look like a bit more of a silver, whereas everything else kind of like this almost bluish color, I guess you could describe it as. And then the joints aren't as shiny there. They're kind of just like a little normal tannish, grayish kind of color there. But again, this thing just looks amazing. And as soon as I seen how reflective and shiny this thing was on the website, I just had to pick this thing up, especially seeing as it's Cooler. Cooler's amazing. He's cool. He's awesome. He's one of the best characters that came from the movies, and you just gotta have them in your collection. So we're gonna go ahead and get straight into it with articulation. So the head can go 360, but one thing you have to keep in mind is you kind of have to hold the head down, because when you spin it around this end, it wants to pop out. You can have him looking down very far. I'm gonna say like he's looking down on a cliff, or looking down for a Goku and Vegeta, something like that. I don't want to say like sad. You can't really move it up much though, so you're not gonna really be able to get too many cool flying poses with this guy, but still not bad. Not sure if I really mentioned, but the neck is crazy. There's a lot of articulation from the neck. So moving on, another crazy part of articulation, that's going to be these joints here in the shoulders. I don't think any of the other figures had joints in the shoulders this amazing. I maybe might be glazing over like Frieza's second form, as that thing had crazy movement too. But I mean, I've never seen articulation like this even in model kits. So this is a fantastic hair. I love that. And then the shoulders here as well. There's like a little joint here. It's like a lot of joints to this shoulder armor here. If you can see that, it kind of have like this little C-clip looking doohickey here that lets this thing move up a lot. So for the most part, the movement on the arm should be like super unrestricted, just because how amazing those shoulders are, as you can see there. So very much in love with that. Of course, can have this thing go 360. You just want to do it a little gently, because this shoulder part here is like only on a little ball joint, so it pops out fairly easily if you're not careful. I feel like the arm could be a little better. They always are a little lacking on these figures, but still overall not too bad. I'm not going to complain about that too much. Ball joint wrist, and if you can get it moved to the right spot, you can kind of have it swivel. It's just a little hard to even see the joint because how in there these hands are. I believe that's it right there, but if you can kind of move it more so towards the front, you get better articulation out of it. But again, it's a little bit of a chore moving it around to do so, but overall arm articulation isn't half bad. Then we have the waist articulation, a lot of flexing and bending. You can only really move side to side, but still overall not too bad. And he can more or less do a split. Maybe not quite, but almost. So he can kick his foot up pretty high. You can basically get this thing 360, honestly. I'm a little nervous to move it around that much, but again, you get some pretty nice dynamic poses out of these things. Again, the Figuarts have always been great posers. I mean, they are action figures. Action figures are supposed to be posable, no? So it's probably pretty bad if a model kit can pose better than an action figure. But then, as you can see, their feet, they can move, maybe not quite 360, but they give it a decent bit of movement. Could be a little better, but as you can see, you move it too much, things start to pop out. So that's where I'm going to stop there. Now, the tail is a bit disappointing, only in the fact that you can't really move the tail 360. It can wobble a little bit, but for most part, all the articulation is just going to be at these multiple digits with the tail there. It move a variety of poses, and it's also super duper long. I want to point that out there. I can't understate how long his tail is, like almost as long as he is. So one good thing about his tail, of course, is although it is super long and obviously it holds him down quite a bit to the point that you can't really have him standing up unless you do this something awkwardy like this. The tail does have enough weight to where it can support him, so you don't really have to go too crazy with standing him up. The tail will do the rest for you there. So these are all the accessories that comes with the metal cooler here. We have 2 additional feet, which you will see in just a moment. There are several different heads here. One of him smirking. Another one with a more intense looking face. We have one of him, I think this is him grinning, I can't quite tell. We have multiple sets of hands with him. Looks like kind of like more of an impaling hand. I think these are what these are supposed to be. It kind of looks like he's doing some sort of thrusting, stabbing motion with them. But you could probably use them as a bit of a more relaxed hand as well. 2, I believe these like death beam type hands. The death finger. The death finger type beam. All of Frieza's family seems to have done. Another outstretched hand here. Honestly, you could probably use that as another key blast hand. And then these are kind of more grasping hands, they look like. But I shall show these off in a bit more detail. So the first accessory we're of course going to get into is going to be the heads. So if anyone's seen my last SH Figuarts review, it was of Android 19, and I was very disappointed in that thing. So one thing I can confirm with this is it does not have that thing's horrible negative feature, or whatever you want to call that. Again, disappointing review is that the heads go on no problem. All of them fit on. That's what I'm showing off here right now. Simple as. No weird pins you got to push in for it or anything stupid like that. They just go on. Simple as that. So Bandai, please have some quality control. Make sure the heads come on. That was just sad. I don't know what else to say or how else to describe it. But moving on to the next accessory. This thing comes with the fist on by default. Most of these usually do. So you just simply twist those straight on off. And he has an assortment of different hands that I, of course, showed off earlier. So I'm not going to go crazy with them. I'm just going to show off a few here and there. So we, of course, have these. Again, these look more like a thrusting motion. I feel like there might have been a scene I'm missing where he stabbed somebody with his hands. I almost feel like he did that. Maybe I'm thinking of Frieza. But anywho. Again, we have these death beam hands there. Again, I'm only going to put one in. I'm not going to go crazy here. Oop. You definitely want to be careful with these things, with that little delicate finger. You grip onto this thing the wrong way, and yeah, you're not going to be able to use any of these anymore. So, of course, we also have these other hands here. I'm pretty sure they're supposed to be more like a key blast or something. But again, I'm not going to go too crazy with these hands. Just know they're there. And I assure you, all the accessories fit just fine. I mean, with 19, they all fit just fine. Again, except for the heads. The heads are the only things that didn't fit on right. And it ruined the entire figure for me. So the next, actually I'm going to show that last. The next thing I'm going to show off is going to be, and I glazed over this when I did the parts. I showed it off, I just didn't say anything about it, but it's going to be this wired hand, and this is for recreating the scene where Goku and Vegeta thought they mortally wounded Cooler. Oops, well, I'm not getting that back on anytime soon. That's fine. It's to recreate the part where Goku and Vegeta thought they mortally wounded Cooler by blowing off his arm, when in reality, no, it has a regenerating feature, so the arm just ended up coming right back on. So it has multiple pieces that you can take off here, the arm and then the shoulder, which is usually a pain to get on, but hopefully I can do it in one shot, which I did, hell yeah. So again, yeah, now you have him with his arm regenerating with this wired effect. Unfortunately, there is no articulation to it, but it's still a nice effect nonetheless. And you have him with this angry looking face, and like he's not happy that they tried to destroy his arm. And then the final accessory here is going to be the feet, which had no articulation, no toe movement or anything. So they, of course, made up for that by giving you an extra version. Oh, oops, I think I have these feet on backwards actually. But yeah, this extra pair of feet, which will help if you want to get him off the ground here, like so. And I actually have an action base I'm going to put him on. But again, I just want to show off how amazing this tail is. Technically, you don't even need to. You can just really have him balanced like that. But that's kind of cheating. So I thankfully have this handy dandy stand here. And you can just throw him right on that. And voila. Now you can get him airborne. Although you got to adjust the base a little bit because that tail kind of weighs him down a bit. But there you go. So I'm just going to end things off with a nice little size comparison here. I don't think I've ever had this many on the screen at the same time at that. But as you can see, Cooler is, I'd say he's taller than Vegeta. Just the fact Vegeta's hair just so spiky and up in the air makes him look bigger than he actually is. Moving Goku on over and out of his brother's way, who again has an odd shaped head, so it's hard to say the height there of him, but I'd say he's roughly about the same height as Goku. Again, it's just the spiky hair. It's hard to really say. But given the final verdict here of this guy, overall, you're definitely going to get a big thumbs up from me on Cooler here. It comes with a magnificent amount of accessories. The only thing I say he's really missing, honestly, is going to be some beam effects. If he had some awesome beam effects, I think that would really just kind of like elevate him to S tier here, but I'm still going to give him a big thumbs up. He's a little on the expensive side, but if you're willing to shell out the, like I said, 120 bucks, I say he's worth it. I mean, come on, this wire arm effect part alone, I'd say is worth it. If not the overall silvery, shiny chrome look. So this thing definitely makes me feel a bit better, especially off of the awful Android 19 review I'm just coming off of from this thing. This makes me feel a bit more eager to actually order more of these now, but I'm still going to hold on until the next 2 figures I have coming out. Actually 3. I have 3 more coming. So hopefully those 3 are as amazing as this guy is. Although I get a feeling at least one of them is going to be as good, if not better than this one. The other 2 are going to be a little more average, but still good nonetheless, as again, I have high praise for the SH Figuarts line so far. The only dud I've had thus far, again, was Android 19. So, I don't know what else to say here, really. So thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and as always, see you in the next review.